Are you living an ordinary life, or are you actually experiencing an extraordinary life? Wayne Dyer shares with us, and he is one of the preeminent transformation gurus. He shares with us that an ordinary life is what most of us are leading, meaning that we pay our taxes, we go to school, we graduate from college, we get married, we have children. All of this, of course, is an ordinary life, which many of us lead. However, he shares with us that in about the last 20 years of his life, he changed. He purposely sought a way to have an extraordinary life. Now, he did something that most of us won't do. He studied the Tao for, I think, 30 years. However, there is a simple way to have an extraordinary life. Dr. Wayne Dyer also shares with us the method is simple to have an extraordinary life. We simply need to listen to our inner voice. He says, listen to our soul. I know that's woo-woo for many, but we all have this inner voice that is calling to us to do something to be more fulfilled. What that means to us is that we want to have an experience in our life, experiences that lead to being extraordinary. Here's a simple example. There is a woman who I met before the pandemic, Anysia McDowell, who is a mom of 3 daughters. She is a wife. Most of us would say, yes, she leads an ordinary life. However, she did listen to that inner voice. She did listen to the fact that she wanted to be more fulfilled, and she began one of her dreams, a vision to have a sustainable bridal fashion office shop. This is her dream, her vision is called Verdant Bridal, and it's an amazing environment. When you first walk in, now this is locally in Gulfport, Florida. When you first walk in, you'll see these beautiful enclaves of different seating areas where you can have private conversations with her and her bridal fashion consulting. As she takes you around the facility, there is a beautiful space for the future brides to try on these gorgeous gowns. These gowns are designed for women of color. That is also extraordinary. The fashions some of them are pre-loved, which I love the way she calls them. They're also designer gowns that are there. Again, they are all designed with women of color in mind. Not only does she have this beautiful setting for bridal consultations, she also has fair trade items. The fair trade items are important to me because she can take them to trade shows. She can sell them immediately or also have future orders. Many of you who listen to my podcast know that I'm a huge believer in multiple sources of income. Therefore, this is one way that she can achieve a multiple source of income. Another way that she achieves this is through, as you wander through her facility, you will see that she has a dining area that also has a kitchen. You can have small meetings there. You can do a cooking class there. She has thought of so many ways to create multiple sources of income for herself and future staff. She tells me that it is extraordinary. Please check out her website details on my podcast. Beautiful website, very informative, and you'll get lots of information from her. As you know, I'm a big believer in Kundalini Yoga and meditation because these will also help you lead an extraordinary life, even for your children. If you want them to grow up and lead extraordinary lives, it is important they start learning at a young age meditation or yoga. Both of these classes are free. Both of these teachers specialize in working with children. As a busy parent, whether you're a mom or a dad, you come home from work, instead of making your children or you don't make them, instead of having your children play games, have them spend some time learning a virtual class in yoga or meditation. Hare Prakash has a specific kriya that I put on the podcast details concerning conquering self-animosity. Self-animosity is what stops us from being extraordinary. All the self-doubt, our parents telling us we can't do things, we know the drill. Lastly, another extraordinary winery is Glen Elley, which I've been talking about for a month now. Madame Lacassagne at 73 already had a famous family chateau in Bordeaux. But she had a calling also. She knew she had something else to do in her life. She wasn't feeling 100% fulfilled, so she went out on an adventure to discover Stellenbosch land where she has this beautiful winery called Glen Elley Estates. This is a sustainable winery. There are four aspects that make up a sustainable winery. That's the soil, the way they treat the soil, meaning no pesticides. They have planted natural plants. They have dug up the invasive and eucalyptus. Sad to believe, but it's an invasive plant for them. So they are planting flora that attracts bees so that the vines will be pollinated. They've also have developed ways to have water retention around the vines. When they prune the vines, they compost the small leaves and use that as water retention. They also believe that it's important to have the native plants, as I mentioned, and the water to work with becoming more sustainable. In conclusion, we all really deserve extraordinary lives. Listen to Wayne Dyer. It's a very short video. Listen to him a couple of times a day or at least a couple of times a week. This information is new for many of us and it might be a little too woo for some of you, but I really stress how important it is to move a little further in your journey in life and become extraordinary. Anysia, her website is beautiful. Verdant Bridal is such a new concept for women of color. The detail that she has paid attention to creating the space, the way she works with other women, the fair trade items, extraordinary. Please practice with your children the Kundalini Yoga Kriyas that I have on my podcast details, the links, and of course Maiden Meditation, because it has art projects for children. Lastly, please reach out to me to find out where the sustainable wines are that you can enjoy. Just reach out to me, period, if you have any kind of questions. To wrap this up, I'm Valerie Hale. I create this podcast on a weekly basis to help people create a blueprint for the life they deserve. I have started online courses to help people with their public speaking. This can be your network, this can be your elevator pitch, this can be a professional presentation in front of thousands of people. I have been speaking professionally for 30 years and want to share my tips and techniques with you. You can contact me on my podcast details. It is called The Fear of Public Speaking. Merci, au revoir.